district, looking to flip that district blue. All of this and more on the AM Report. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Alex Mahajer, and this is the AM Report. We've got a lot of headlines to cover this morning with only 6 days left until Election Day. About 72 million Americans have already voted, prompting speculation that this will be the largest voter turnout since 1908. The LA Dodgers won the World Series last night, beating the Tampa Bay Rays in Game 6, ending a 32-year drought. The Silverado fire in Irvine, California has burned more than 13,000 acres, with 72,000 residents ordered to evacuate, my hometown of Irvine, California. The White House is declaring that the pandemic is over in a new report that's been released by the White House, despite 226,000 deaths, with an average of 70,000 new infections a day. President Barack Obama has slammed Jared Kushner yesterday following remarks that Kushner made about black people on Monday, saying that Trump can't make black people want to be more successful. And the Trump campaign last night left thousands of supporters stranded outside of a Nebraska rally. They were bused to the rally, and then the campaign failed to have them returned to their homes. So, it's a perfect metaphor for 2020. And on top of that, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has not resumed Congress. They have adjourned for this session. So there will be no coronavirus relief package before Election Day, or perhaps before even 2021. All in all, 6 days left till Election Day. Keep your eyes right on this space to learn more every morning. But I'd like to welcome Jillian Freeland to the broadcast. Jillian Freeland, thank you so much for joining.
Yes, good morning. Just drinking a little coffee and prepping for the day. As you mentioned, we only have a few days left before the election. And so after 19 months of hustling on the campaign trail, now we're finally in action time. And Colorado voters are showing up. Here we go, coffee. My husband stole my I hate when I wake up in the morning and Donald Trump is president cup. So I'm rocking this one.
Yes, and absolutely. You've been hustling for 19 months on the campaign trail. In a district that's historically red, what inspired you to run for Congress?
Well, my background is in women's healthcare, which more and more lately requires a little bit of activism. And so my first little foray into politics was actually to go visit Congressman Lamborn's office, because I wanted to share my experience as a small business owner and as a provider working in our system. And I thought, maybe I can be helpful with writing some good legislation that puts patients first. And their staff told us, and I was there with a group of folks, they told us that it was not his job to represent everyone, and that doing so would actually compromise his morals. And so, he encouraged me to run for office. And, where typically people start out running for a state legislature or county commissioner seat, what my passion really is healthcare. And I believe that needs to be work completed at the federal level. And so I'm going straight for it. And the reason that I went ahead this year and ran is because this district has changed a lot. You mentioned that historically it's been Republican. It is now a majority unaffiliated district by 34,000 voters. And so to me, that speaks to critical thinking, and it speaks to some work that needs to be done by the Democratic Party as well. As much as partisanship has harmed our nation at large, it has also impacted the number of people that join parties. And it's important because there's a lot of work that gets done behind the scenes to get candidates elected. And so having people under that big tent all working together is what's creating this blue wave. It is what's pushing the enormous number of ballots that have been turned in early. There are so many people well, not on the ground. That's what we used to say. Now it's on their phones. but just doing the work to make sure we elect people that want to take our country in the right direction, because this nostalgia that Donald Trump displays for the 1950s, while it might have been great for him, that was a really horrible time for a lot of people, and we need to be moving forward, not backward. And so here I am running for office. I have a 2 and a 5-year-old, because that's not enough chaos and mayhem. Decided to try politics too.
Throw it into the mix. And speaking of Donald Trump, he's in a little bit of hot water this morning, because at a campaign event yesterday, he told his crowd that he was going to get their husbands back to work. And it's almost as if you were listening and you're like, no, I'm going to get right into Congress. So I want to show our viewers a little bit more about you. You're running for Congress in the 5th Congressional District over there in Colorado. You're a private practice midwife, a small business owner, and a self-proclaimed coupon clipping, solar-powered millennial mom of 2 amazing daughters, which I love. You're running on a platform of healthcare, an economy that works for everyone, clean air and water, and quality education from pre-K through college or trade school. And your district is in the center of of Colorado, smack in the middle, and it's Colorado Springs and the suburbs, including Cimarron Hills and Fort Carson. So, speaking of this down low misogyny that seems to have been really unleashed, it's always existed, but it's really been unleashed since Donald Trump's been president, and your opponent, wouldn't even meet with you, which I think is just fantastic. When you hear that, what do you think it's going to take to flip the divisive nature of our current political or governing class? What's it going to take to change this the toxic racism, the endemic misogyny, the divisiveness, the partisan divisiveness? What's it going to take, Jillian?
Well, for one thing, it's going to take people who are more interested in listening than talking, which that is clearly not Donald Trump's MO. It's also not my opponent's MO. He does not show up in this community unless you are a friend to him or giving him money. He doesn't show up. And I'm not saying that to increase that partisan rancor, because I also have a bachelor's in sociology, and this tribalism that our government is engaging in is hurting everyone. And so showing up, not thinking you know everything and I'm just going to fix it all, is not how we cause change or move forward. We need people who, yes, I have a strong background in healthcare, but I still have a lot of things to learn when it comes to, foreign policy. And what's different about me, and what's different about a lot of the people who are running for office now, is a willingness to learn. And I will also say that simply running for office causes changes in communities and in the way people run for office. And one of the really important examples that came out of 2018 was an amazing mama who ran for office. Her name is Luba Shirley, and she petitioned the Federal Election Commission to allow us to use campaign funds for childcare. And, as much as I love my children, I cannot care for them and do this work at the same time. And so her simply running for office, she didn't win that time, but her simply running for office opened the door for other people like me. And, I love that you mentioned my somewhat cheeky coupon clipping solar powered millennial mama. I think that's an attitude we need in Congress as well, because I'm that woman who will stand and wait for my 75-cent coupon. and that's the same approach that I will take legislating. I will be frugal and respect the fact that we are spending other people's money, and that we need to focus those expenditures on the things that have the common welfare in mind. That is what the Constitution charged Congress with, and I take it really seriously. I do want to give one quick shout out, because you mentioned Colorado Springs and the surrounding areas, but this district actually includes 4 other counties as well, and they often get left out of the conversation. And so shout out to Fremont and Chaffee and Teller and Park counties. I want to represent you too. And the fact that I live in the urban center doesn't mean I will ignore you. So when COVID allows, I will be back out there. I spent the first year of the campaign roughly getting to go out and shake hands and kiss babies, the old way of running for office, pre-endless Zooms and teleconferences. And so So I'm proud to be a Coloradan, and I love my work in healthcare. And I also want to see my babies have a bright future, and I'm willing to do the work to guarantee that for them, and hopefully their kids if they want to have them, and so on and so on.
Wikipedia, you forsake me with your district. Good to know, though. I love that, and I'm a millennial too, and I think we hear a lot about the millennial generation, and then the Trump administration is so keen on this is their new tactic on calling us radicals and rioters and looters and the radical socialists, which I just think is so ridiculous. And really, we're about to become the biggest voting bloc in America. And it's really nice to see millennial candidates who are clear, confident, who've got ideas, willing to come and make change for everybody. So what are your top priorities for your district and your constituents? And also, will you speak a little bit to the enthusiasm that we're seeing in this voter turnout in Colorado? What are you seeing in Colorado with regards to that?
Well, one fun statistic is that the ladies are turning out to vote in greater numbers than the guys. So, challenge. And I think it speaks to what the Trump administration has made women consider. And in a lot of ways, people became complacent. Things were good enough that, people didn't show up to vote in 2016, or, they have never voted before, and now they're stepping up. And so that's why we have thousands of new voters, and that's why we're seeing already the record turnout. Now, that does not mean that the work is done, because here in Colorado, we still have 500,000 Democrats alone who have not turned in their ballots. So get off your butts, folks. Make that part of your Halloween to-do list. Go drop off your ballot. It is too late to mail it in Colorado. There are a lot of court cases going on in other states regarding whether they will accept your ballot based on postmark instead of receipt. So I would encourage you, if you have the option, take it straight to a drop box or a polling service center. And, in terms of the district, it's a really diverse district. We have 5 military bases here. We also have a huge influx of millennials that are moving to the district for various reasons. I mean, for one thing, I wish you could see the view outside. We look at the mountains and the forests, and it's a giant playground. And we also have some major issues that we are struggling with and taking big steps that a lot of people didn't expect from a community this historically red. Just last year, the Colorado Springs Utilities is owned by the people. And so every 5 years, they have a process that plans the portfolio, the way we're going to generate energy for our community for the next 5 years and longer, taking that 30-year view as well. And we have been burning coal in the middle of downtown for decades. It's disgusting. It spews toxins. It destroys water. And we know that we need to move away from fossil fuels, and that we need to do so in a way that doesn't, leave behind the workers that have been powering our communities for these decades. And what the people of Colorado Springs did is show up for these boring ass meetings. Like, we're talking C-SPAN, like super process heavy. And these rooms were standing room only. And the people showed up and said, we don't want to burn coal anymore. You need to close this plant and replace it with renewables. And the board, the advisory board, actually came back and said, actually, we recommend that you install some new natural gas generation. But when the final vote was taken, the president of the board said, we understand the recommendation made by UPAC, but the public has demanded that we go renewable. So we're going to close Martin Drake coal plant by 2023. And they're building solar panels like crazy. We are buying power from wind turbines that are out east of us. And it really, I think, if a town this red can go green, it's ready to go blue too.
And it's green energy and renewable energy is going to be the innovative new economy. And it would be a shame if America sat back from being a leader in the world again in terms of economic innovation. I think it's something that we could even be proud of to create millions of jobs, including in an area like Colorado's Fifth, and in Colorado, where the opportunity to create new renewable energy systems and an economy that thrives based on it are very, very ripe. So, Jillian, you're fantastic. I love speaking with you. You're so dynamic. Where can people find you, support you, and help push your campaign in these final 6 days?
So we made the website really easy to remember. It's just jillianfreeland.com. Land of the Free is my last name, and sure. it sounds a little cheeky, but it really is the attitude we all need to take toward our country. And so the website's jillianfreeland.com. My handle on Twitter and Facebook are at Freeland CO-5, and give us a follow. Feed those algorithms, give it a like and a comment and a share, and that really gets the message out there. And of course, all of the activities are driven by fundraising, including the care of my sweet little babies who are screaming out in the kitchen right now. So if you have $5, I will put it to good use. You can give up to $2,800 if you want to, and I'll put that to good use too. So just please do give what you have, and know that I'm deeply grateful and will stretch those bucks like you would not believe. And I'll just share one quick final thing with you. In 90% of races in our country, the person who raises the most money is who wins. And so my opponent has a huge war chest because his PACs write their checks right on schedule every time. But we're running a scrappy grassroots campaign. So please do give what you can to support a campaign that's not funded by huge corporations. And multinational corporations are who give to Doug. So,
dude, gotta go. We got a lot of comments and support this morning. Christopher Drago's giving you the raised fist. You go, Jillian. Best of luck. Good morning. Big oil companies prevented this for a long time. Wishing you luck. Great interview. So you got a lot of support, and hopefully you can join me again once you're a congresswoman, and we can chat again. So this has been Jillian Freeland. She's running for Congress in Colorado's 5th Congressional District, looking to flip that district blue. Thanks so much for joining this morning. This has been the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of now. I'm Alex Mahajer. You can join us every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this journalism, if you like this content, please consider sponsoring it. Visit me at haps.tv/@Alex. And there's only 6 days left, everyone. Vote, vote, vote. And if you don't know how, visit iwillvote.com and find out and make a voting plan. Thanks so much, Jillian. Good to see you.
Thank you. Talk to you when I'm a congresswoman.